All right, so far we've just listed out this one item, this one movie, but we want to list out a list of our favorite movies. So let's go back into our code and go back to our views.py file. And right now we're just passing in this one movie, and it is a string with the name of the movie. But we also don't have to specify this dictionary right here. We can just create a Python variable to store this dictionary and pass that. And that's typically what you'll see. Typically you'll see the context variable created like this, and that will be the dictionary. And then right here we can just pass in this context variable. And so here's where we could set our key value pairs that we want to access in the template. And so previously we passed in movie, but we want to pass in this time a list of movies. And before we passed in a string, gladiator, but we want to pass in a list. So let's open up a list. And now you can list out whatever movies are your favorite. I'll say Gladiator, Top Gun, and Casino. So now we have access to this movies list within our template. Now let's go back into our index.html template and add a little bit of logic as well as display this list of movies. So if we delete this variable, well, what do we want to do? If there is a list of movies that's passed in, we want to display them out, we'll list them out. But if there's no movie list being passed in, or if it's empty, we don't want it to just be a blank page. We want to tell the user that there's no favorite movies. So we can add this logic with tags. So we can open up tags and create an if statement and say if movies is truthy. And whenever we use these type of tags, we have to close them. So we'll say end if. And we can also add another tag for else. So between these two tags, we'll render if movies is truthy. And what's between these two tags will render if movies is falsy. So here we can say if there's no movies list or it's empty, let's just create a paragraph tag and say no favorite movies. But if there are movies, then we probably want to list them out. So we'll create an unordered list. And now we could create a list item and try and list every single movie. But we can also use a tag to loop through this movies list. So we can open up a tag and create a for loop and say for movie in movies. And so movies right here is that list. And this could be anything. This could be item, could be object. It will just loop through this movies list and let us access each item. But we want to make it descriptive, so we'll say movie. And with these type of tags, again, we want to close them, so we'll say end for. And now within this for loop, we'll loop through each item in this movies list and have access to that item. So we can just render a list item and we can open up variable tags and type movie. So it should list out each movie in this movies list. And if we wanted to make it look a little bit more presentable, we could add a filter, so a pipe symbol, and the title filter. So now it'll capitalize the first letter of each word. Awesome. So now we have logic. So we're saying if there's movies, then create an unordered list and loop through this movies list. And each item in this movies list, call it movie, render that out as a list item. Otherwise, if there's no movies variable or if it's an empty list, then tell the user, hey, you have no movies. So let's see what it looks like. Make sure your server is running and pull back open your browser. Now if we click refresh, awesome, you should see the list of your favorite movies. And now hopefully you're starting to see how powerful this Django templating language is. We can actually add logic and access these variables. But there's one more thing that I want to touch on, and that's called template inheritance, and we'll cover that in the next video.